When I was 12 years old, my parents finally trusted me enough to leave me home alone for the night. It felt like a milestone, one of those quiet moments where childhood slowly begins to loosen its grip. We lived in a peaceful little town, the kind of place people describe as safe without thinking twice about it. Tree-lined streets. Big front yards. Neighbors who waved when they passed. A small village center filled with family-owned shops, bakeries, and restaurants. It wasn't the kind of place where you looked over your shoulder at night or worried about locking your doors during the day. I still live in that same house today. That night was a weekend. My parents were going out with friends, something they did fairly often. They'd had me young, so they were still active, still social. Normally, my grandparents would watch my older sister and me when they went out, but my sister wasn't home that night, and my parents decided I was old enough to stay by myself. Before leaving, my mom handed me a $20 bill. "Pizza for dinner," she said. "Tip the driver $4. And wrap the leftovers in foil and put them in the fridge." I promised I would. As soon as they pulled out of the driveway, the house felt enormous. Quiet. Still. But not in a bad way. It was freedom. I fired up my PlayStation 2 and loaded up James Bond, Nightfire, a game I'd already beaten twice and was obsessed with. Hours passed unnoticed. After finishing the campaign for the third time, I decided to order pizza. There was a place only 3 blocks away called Gianni's Pizzeria, one my family ordered from all the time. I called, ordered a regular pie, then swapped discs and started another Bond game while I waited. When the doorbell rang, I grabbed the cash and hurried downstairs. The delivery driver stood on the porch, a man in his 30s, maybe older. He looked rough. Long, greasy beard. Thick glasses. A black trucker hat pulled low over his forehead. As I handed him the money, he counted out my change slowly, then looked up at me. Then past me. Into the house. "You alone here?" he asked. The question made my stomach twist. My parents had warned me about strangers. About oversharing. About trusting instincts. Still, I panicked and gave the worst answer possible. "My parents are on their way home." He stared at me for a moment longer than necessary, then handed me the change and the pizza box. I shut the door and locked it. At the time, I tried to tell myself I was overreacting. Maybe he was just making conversation. Still, the question stayed with me. I ate 3 slices in the kitchen, wrapped the rest in foil like my mom asked, and went back upstairs to play Agent Under Fire. I lost track of time. Around 11 p.m., the doorbell rang again. Smiling, I ran downstairs, assuming my parents had forgotten something or come home early. "Mom? Dad?" I called through the door. A man's voice answered. "Hey. I need help." My heart dropped. "I need to use a phone," he said. I froze. "Who is this?" I asked. "I just need to use a phone." I didn't look through the window. I didn't unlock the door. Something felt deeply wrong. I turned and started up the stairs. That's when the banging started. "Wait," the man said urgently. "Please. I need help." The words weren't what scared me. It was the realization that he had seen me walking away. There was glass at the top of the door. He knew I was home. I ran upstairs and locked myself in my parents' bedroom, the only room with a phone. My hand shook as I dialed my mom's cell number. She answered, cheerful and slightly slurred. The moment I told her someone was at the door asking to come inside, her voice changed completely. She asked if I'd spoken to him. If anyone knew I was alone. I immediately thought of the pizza driver. While we talked, the doorbell rang again. Then again. My mom told me to lock the door, turn off the lights, and stay quiet. She and my dad were calling the police. The windows were cracked open for summer air. That's when I heard the side gate open. Softly. Carefully. Someone was in the backyard. Then came the sound of footsteps. Inside the house. I whispered this to my mom, and she screamed into the other phone for police to hurry. She told me to hide under the bed. I did. From there, I heard footsteps climbing the stairs. They moved through my sister's room. Then mine. Then stopped outside my parents' bedroom door. The doorknob turned. Once. Twice. Then soft knocking. No voice. Just silence. Eventually, the footsteps retreated. Minutes later, police stormed the house. The back door was open. A window was slid wide open. Someone had been inside. We told the police everything, including the pizza driver. They said they'd investigate. The next day, my parents took me to Gianni's Pizzeria. The manager denied everything. Said the driver, Phil, would never do that. Phil never showed up. We never ordered from there again. To this day, I know who it was. Because no one else knew I was alone. Story 2, The Man in the Woods. Years later, my parents and I moved to a remote part of North Idaho. Deep wilderness. No neighbors. Endless forest. They built their dream home huge, modern, and isolated. At first, it felt peaceful. Then one night, while watching a movie in the basement, I felt it. That primal instinct. Like I was being watched. After the movie, I turned off the lights and saw him. A man outside the window. Filthy clothes. Wild hair. A knife in his hand. He smiled as he tapped the blade against the glass. He followed me from window to door. Never tried to enter. Just watched. The police found nothing. But the tapping started. Every night. 4 weeks. Footsteps. Knocking. Then winter came. One night, fresh footprints circled the house. Every window. Every door. That night, I confronted him. Shotgun raised. Dog unleashed. He vanished into the woods. I never saw him again. But I still hear tapping in my dreams. Story 3, The Cabin in South Carolina. March 2022. Spring break. 6 friends. 1 remote cabin. The owner warned us not to wander into the woods. We laughed. We shouldn't have. That first night, the forest was unnaturally silent. At 4:15 a.m., I woke up to tapping. A man stood outside my window. Bare-chested. Pale. Unblinking. He tapped slowly with his fingers. Watching. Waiting. When we scared him off, we thought it was over. The next morning, we found footprints. Circling the cabin. Stopping at every window. He wasn't lost. He was hunting.